All right, Sistas fans, season 5, episode 20, The Last Laugh. Pretty solid episode. Look, as you all know, I was not a fan of last week's episode. This week's episode did have a couple of moments where I'm like, it kind of reeks of the Sistas' lack of accountability, but at the same time, Preston alone saved this episode for me. The way he went off on Danny, I feel like Trinity saw either my videos and I know he sees my tweets when I talk about Destin because he usually likes, comments, and or retweets my post. And I feel like he saw my frustration and he's like, Jeremy, episode 20 is for you. So when you see my scene with Danny, dang near, I'm going to do a video on the scene, but honestly, like in this review, I don't really need to say anything. I've done enough videos, essay length post on social media where I talk about all the reasons why, Preston needs to leave and how Danny's been mistreating him. And he said it's like I wrote the script and he said it. Because everybody last night, Jeremy, you were right. You were right. You said that Danny would try to say that Preston's running again. You were right that way back when you said the only reason Danny wants Preston around is because she's afraid that Jonah guy is going to come up again. And I'm like, yeah, that's enough said. And my favorite part is the fact that Danny did exactly what she always does. She deflects. She tries to act like Preston's a problem, but the man did not back down. He stood 10 toes deep in those cowboy boots, and then he left. And I said, if that's his final scene, which is not, he's going to be in the season finale, which I think is just him telling Danny he's going back to Texas and he's not coming back. If this was his final scene, what a way to go out. It's a shame to see Trinity go, but hey, he did what he had to do. So yeah, I give this episode a 7 out of 10. And if you saw my live stream and if you follow me on Twitter, I was tweeting about the episode and, I was having a good time. But yeah, let's get into the review. But before we do, the drill. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. Hit subscribe. Please do that. A number of people have commented on my live stream and in my trailer breakdown. Hey, Jeremy, just wanted to let you know I've been watching for a while, but I finally subscribed last week because you asked. So please, I'm asking again, trying to hit 300,000 subscribers, and hit the notification bell and select all. That way you are aware when I go live because I love it. Or if you was like, hey, during the live stream, I got the notification, I'm here, let's talk about the show. All right, so Danny gets home and man, oh man, simply put, she doesn't want to talk. Preston, look, let me just say this. I don't want to make it seem like I'm half-assing my review because it's like I said earlier in the video, this played out exactly like I predicted. I said Preston's going to be, wide awake no matter how late it is, waiting for, Danny to get home so they can talk. And just like I predicted, that's what he said. Because she's like, I thought you would have been asleep by now. No, I've been waiting up for you because you said we would talk after you got off work, but you never came home. Okay, you were out with your girls, but, basically he feels devalued. It's like, you don't value my time and all. It's like, I wanted to talk to you this morning because it was important and you just blew me off. And I bet you never even looked in your car to see what gift I got you. Oh, Preston, I left it at work. Wait, if Preston left the gift in her car, how did she not get, wait a minute. Well, maybe okay. I don't know about her leaving it at work, but let me remember. We saw her drive to work because Tony parked beside her. Preston said, I have a spare key to your car. I was going to leave your gift in your car. Danny then went over to Sabrina's apartment because she didn't want to go home. Or did she go to Karen's first? Hang on. What did she do? No. That was for the first blind date. Yeah, she went over to Sabrina's apartment because that's when she saw Bio leaving. And then she opted to wear one of her Sabrina's outfits to avoid going home. So she most likely left her car at Sabrina's apartment because remember, Andy showed up. The girls left to go over to Jordan. So we can assume they rode in the same car, which was probably Sabrina's, because when they left Jordan, Sabrina was driving, Andy was in the passenger seat, Danny was in the back seat. Because Sabrina's like, hey, Danny, do you want me to take you home? No, 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 no. I don't want to go home. Then they went to Karen's, and then from there, we can assume Sabrina dropped Danny off. So her car is probably at Sabrina's apartment, and then that's where that gift is. Again, just headcanon. So basically, she tells Preston to get the bass out of your voice. Let's just talk in the morning. And she's like, I'm going to go shower. So I'm just going to skip to the next day where they talk, because I'll jump back to the other stuff in a minute. Well, actually, no, because we go over to Heather's apartment, because after that we move to the next day. So let me talk about this. And similar to the Preston and Danny stuff, I kind of already talked about it, because remember, we got a sneak peek before the episode aired. And the sneak peek pretty much showed us exactly what was up. Zach and Fatima show up to Heather's apartment, and apparently her hand or wrist was cut with something. And like a paramedic was there bandaging her up. And there was a shady dude in the corner. Uncredited. I looked at the credits and I didn't see an actor's name or character name. So he's just a dude smoking. I don't know. I said he was smoking a cigarette. Somebody said, nah, he was smoking. Him and Heather are both smoking a joint or something. Possibly, I don't know. I know that joints are typically brown in media, and cigarettes are typically, white with the light brown end of the cigarette you hold. As a non-smoker, I have no idea. This was probably a joint, but I did look it up. In the state of Georgia, it's illegal. Marijuana is illegal. But the thing people talk about is, if they were smoking weed, it's stupid because when the cops show up, they're smoking right in front of them. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't even know they're smoking weed. But in any case, Heather wants them to leave. And like I said in my live stream, I felt kind of bad because I don't feel like Heather was being her normal disrespectful self just because. I feel like she was desperate for them to leave, because probably the more they stick around, the more questions they'll ask and piece things together, because it's clear that this dude was the one that hurt her. Because one, Miss Cheryl was, I believe, the person who called the cops about the situation about domestic disturbance. And then you notice how Heather looked over at the dude when she said, I cut my hand on some glass. And it's like, she's telling the lie. But she's probably like, I need to tell a lie, because if I tell the truth, this dude's going to get mad. And it's kind of weird, like this guy doing what he did to Heather, because Miss Cheryl said, like, after what you did the last time you came over here, aka Fatima had them goons come in and beat the hell out of Bones and his people, them thugs and whatnot don't be running around here like they used to. So this guy must have not gotten the memo or what. And it makes me wonder, is Fatima going to call Bones to kick his ass too? Who knows? But in any case, they call out to Michael, are you okay? Because we don't see Michael on screen. We don't know if he's like in his bedroom with the door closed. We don't know if he was like in a visible, where Fatima and Zach, could they see Michael from where they're standing? Because they know he can't speak. So it's not like he would be able to yell back, I'm fine, or no, daddy, I'm not okay. So I was kind of confused by that. But in any case, the cops show up. Heather doesn't want to talk to them or have them in the apartment. And then the cop is like, yeah, we heard there was a domestic disturbance. Like, who lives here? I love how Fatima says she does, we don't. And from there, they're pretty much just asked to leave. But I'm like, to the cop, but that's the father, right? So shouldn't he have a right to check on his son? So that felt kind of weird. So then they leave and go downstairs. And then they talk to Miss Cheryl outside, who thanks them for, they thank her for the phone call. And it's like, look, you ain't got to thank me, because the next time, something happens and she calls me out of my name again, I'll take care of her before you even get a chance to do anything. And Zach's like, please, I will pay you to whoop her ass. Zach, don't you say anything like that. Don't say that. She's like, look, I told you last time, don't come between me and my money. It's like, I'll whoop her ass for a pack of cigarettes. The actress that plays Miss Cheryl, she a trip, because even Zach's like, I'm starting to like her. So then we move to the next day. And Brian gives Karen a phone call to let her know that, hey, I'm actually outside your shop. If you can come down here so we can talk before, I get started, because I wanted to go over a few things with you. That'd be great. So, Karen's on her way there later on. But then he does mention how his wife, just to let you know, my wife got a little excited when I told her about the, shop and everything, and how, if you want anything, that you will be open to anything. And she's like, she pre-packed some stuff for the baby. And from there, Fatima, and this was one of my favorite scenes of the episode, because Fatima's reaction to Karen giving her a phone call and talking to her the way she did, that's Fatima's facial expressions were exactly how I was looking during this scene, because I couldn't believe it. Because Fatima, I think both actresses did a good job. Karen, like, kind of walking on eggshells and being calm, because she knows how she's been acting, and, you know, she's trying to be peaceful. And Fatima has the right confused response, like, who's this? Karen? Oh. And it's not like she's being rude, but you can understand how many times has Karen called her out of her name or been hostile. So it just seems weird, like, oh, okay, I'll tell Zach thank you. Because she mentions how, you know, actually there's this guy who's helping me with the salon stuff, and he has a bunch, his wife was like open to giving a bunch of baby stuff, but it kind of doesn't make sense for me to take all this stuff when honestly I'm like over half a year away from even needing it. So if, you know, Zach's kid needs anything, you know, just let me know. And that was pretty cool of her. So she's like, yeah, I'll ask Zach and give him to give you a call. So from there, Zach couldn't sleep. He really couldn't sleep that night, because Fatima, once she gets ready for work, she goes downstairs. Zach made breakfast, and, you know, Fatima tries to calm down, like, look, you not sleeping and you not eating isn't going to do any good for Michael. And I understand you not feeling up to it because you're worried about your son, but you need to take care of yourself. How are you going to take care of your son if you're so worried that, you know, you're not taking care of yourself? That's not going to do anybody any good. And I just love how supportive she is. But Zach was getting on my nerves, asking the same question, like, dude, don't keep asking the question. How are you okay with this? Zach, stop asking the question. Okay. It's kind of like in another part of the episode, Andy's telling Karen, stop saying thank you. So basically, the lawyer is meeting with the judge, but there's nothing that can happen right now, because what did she say? Like, the judge is in his chambers and whatnot, so it's not like them being at the courthouse can do anything. All we can do is wait. You know, we'll just go down to my job in a few and talk to him as soon as he knows anything. And from there, she mentions the whole Karen thing. And again, Zach's reaction is like, oh man, you know, that's crazy. I wonder when she's going to go back to her other self. But again, I love how the Zach and Fatima moments are small but effective. And I'll keep saying it. I'd rather have these 3 to 5 minute Zach and Fatima moments where everything is cool and we see the bond and chemistry between the two, as opposed to 20 minutes per episode of Zach and Fatima needless drama. All right. So from there, you know, yeah, I'll get to the press and stuff, but I'm just talking about the other miscellaneous things. Karen arrives at the salon, and Brian gives her, I just love the black trash bag he hands over full of the baby stuff. That, and I'm not going to say that's such a black thing to do, but it's very relatable. It's like if you're giving somebody clothes or something, yo, here's a durable trash bag full of this stuff. And I love when Karen took out the shirt, which is clearly too small for Michael. But remember, there's a large range of ages that Brian and his wife have, you know, kids. So the clothes range, like, okay, obviously it's too small for Michael, but there could be stuff in that bag he can grow into, or he's already able to fit. But I thought it was cute how the shirt was like blue and white, and Karen was wearing blue. I don't know, I just like that. That was cool. I didn't mind the bad green screen at the salon either, because I was so invested in the scene itself. So basically, Brian also mentions how he coaches football, and I think, didn't he say his one of the kids did like a rendering or something, like a drawing? I don't know. But in any case, he does mention, you know, hey, this is the best time of your life. And it's like, do you want more children? And, you know, she's like, honestly, you know, I don't know. I just, let me get this one kid and then I'll see. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm just moving too far ahead there. And he's like, I wish I have 50 kids if I could. And I'm like, bro, just I don't know, man. Like, cause I joked, I said, yo, is he like Rumpelstiltskin? Does he want to adopt Karen's kid or something, or what? I don't know what's going on with that. But in any case, he does break down the situation. Well, hey, you know, I want you to check something out. And, oh, is this the design we talked about? It's like, what's the cost? Well, actually, it's different. Not the cost, but the design. See, I know your landlord because I worked with him before, you know, hard ass. He, you know, stingy with the, how much he wants to be paid. Like basically he wants rent on time, but he never pays people back on time. And Karen mentions, yeah, whenever something needs fixing, he doesn't fix it, or he takes his time doing it. But basically Brian said, hey, here's a building that I built, but the guy who was the previous owner ran into some trouble and he lost the building, probably some financial stuff. What if you bought that building and you ran your salon out of this one? Now, people talk about how shady this might seem. My biggest thing comes later when he tries to get Karen to ride over there in his vehicle, because the music tone shift was really different. It really was different. But in any case, because I've already done 3 Brian videos. Yeah, this review, I've recorded like 17 videos before this one. So I've already talked about the Brian stuff about, is he shady? Is he trying to kidnap Karen? Is he trying to scam her of the money? Is this building thing legit? Yeah, it probably is based off some season 7 information. But the way I look at it is, I think this could be what's best for Karen, because a lot of fans, including myself in these videos, have said it would probably be smarter and less expensive if Karen just rented out another location, because she could probably be up and running again much sooner than 5 months. The 5 months it would take for Brian to get his crew and the equipment together in order to fix everything. So this way Karen might not even have to run her business from her home, because within maybe a month or so, she'll be back on her feet in a new building and the salon will be up and running again. So Brian asks, yeah, I can show you. It's not far from here. Oh, I'll meet you over there. No, I can give you a ride. And then Karen's like, I don't know. It's like, what? Do you not trust me? Listen to the music shift in that scene. It's kind of eerie. It's like, yo, I don't know about this dude. And what? It's like, my wife doesn't really care. It's like, what do you mean by that? She doesn't. Well, no. It's not like, we don't get down like that. I don't cheat or anything. My wife, it's basically, my wife isn't worried about me in the sense that she's thinking I'm going to cheat. It's like if somebody sees me driving another woman around town, it's not going to be like she will get jealous or anything. So he offers her a ride and they go over there, which will be in the next episode. All right. So earlier in the episode, Karen actually goes over to Andy's penthouse. Now she's on the phone with Jordan, who gives her a call. Thankfully, things didn't turn out like how I predicted, where Jordan would ask Andy out again. No, he actually says, look, my sister isn't doing well after last night. And to be honest, she wants to talk with you about the Gary situation, because it would just make her feel better to have some questions answered. And Andy's like, I got to think about it. And he's like, well, hey, I got a meeting downtown. And you said you worked like downtown in that area, right? So is it possible for us to like have lunch, talk things over? Let me check my calendar when I get to work and I'll let you know. And from there, Karen comes in. Let me put it this way. I don't want to spend time on the Andy thing, because, I don't want to, I feel like I've talked this into the ground enough. I don't feel bad for Andy. And what did she say on the episode? Is feeling like an idiot valid? And on Twitter, I'm like, that's low hanging fruit. I'm not even going to address it. But she's so mad at Gary that she wants to run him over in the car that he bought for her. And I'm thinking, like, if you're mad enough to do that, then why are you still living in the penthouse that he bought for you? That's all I'm saying. Again, I don't feel sorry for her. She has almost a $4 million. Let's just say 5, because I'm just going to say 5, because include the clothing and like the everything that came in it. I feel like it's probably 5 million or so. Jewelry and all that crap. I don't feel bad for you, Andy. So basically from there, Andy did block his number, but let's see how long that's going to last, because Gary, he'll pop up out of nowhere. So we'll see how long it lasts. Because it's funny, because I remember at one time, didn't Zach block Karen's number, but then he unblocked it? But regardless, Andy cuts a check for Karen, and I was kind of mad that we don't find out how much the check is for the repairs, because it's funny how Tyler can tell us that it costs $3 million to get Sabrina out of jail, 1.5 to get Maurice. Wait, 3 million for Sabrina, 1.5 million for Maurice. Yet we don't get a price of the cost of the repairs for the salon. But in any case, Karen does say something interesting. Look, I'll pay you back because, well, I just paid off my last balance with you, which implies that she did pay back Andy for the money she put up for her original salon. Season 1, it was confirmed. Andy loaned Karen the money to start a business, and she would pay her back over time. My theory is that Karen probably used a portion of the $77,000 that Zach paid her back in order to pay back her debt with Andy, which, if that's the case, good continuity. But it kind of doesn't explain a few things, like why didn't she just reinstate her insurance on her old building? But then at the beginning of season 4, after getting the money, she said she was going to start looking for houses. So I don't know. Who knows? But that's just my running theory until we get further confirmation. So from there, yeah. And Andy looks great. I'm sorry for, please, not trying to sound rude. I know she's a married woman, but those legs, though, when I saw Andy walk into, frame when she was getting ready for work, I'm like, damn. So she put on the yellow, like the bottom and then the yellow top, and like looking fresh. And it's good to see Andy in a more like conservative outfit like that, very professional, covered up. Still looks good, but at the same time, office friendly compared to what she would usually wear. I mean, I remember like the outfit she wore to Jordan's barbecue. I'm like, damn, it's been a while since we've seen her in something so semi-revealing. But yeah, going over to, I guess the only other thing to talk about is the Preston stuff. So Preston's getting ready for work. Again, it happened just like I predicted. He wants to talk, but Danny's like, I got 2 hours for work. Now, the only thing about this scene, I was waiting for Preston to say, well, it didn't stop you yesterday from leaving 2 hours early to get to work, so I want to talk to you now. But in any case, she gets up because he wants to have a real conversation. Something I noticed, though, is the fact that Danny had a full face of makeup, despite the fact that night she said she was going to hop in the shower. Make it make sense. I mean, at least in terms of Fatima, the running joke in the show is that Zach's like, I never seen what your face looks like without makeup. It's like you get up early in the morning before I wake up to put your face on. Of course, we know what the reason, because they film so many scenes back to back to back. There's just not time. I'm not a woman, so I don't know how long it takes to apply makeup, but apparently it takes a lot of time. So in any case, Preston just makes it clear. And look, I'm not going to do a beat by beat breakdown in a separate video. I will, but simply put, Preston makes it clear that he's not happy because, he asked the question, are you sleeping with Tony? And it's like, no, I'm not sleeping with the dude at the airport. And he's like, look, don't get mad. It's a fair question based off, your track record. And it's like, but do you want to sleep with him? And basically the fact that Danny doesn't really have a conversation with Preston. It's like, okay, Preston, or think what you want to think, Preston. She just doesn't have an answer for what he's asking. And simply put, he's like, he makes it known. I feel like the only reason you wanted me here is because that guy came after you and you're afraid that he would come back. And if it wasn't for that dude, do you even know if I would be here? And simply put, she couldn't give him a straight answer. But then she starts going at him. It was like, well, what about the stuff you used to do, Preston? It's like, and it's like, no, we're talking about what you're doing now and the fact that you're not ready to commit. So simply put, he's done. And then it's like, I can't stop loving you. And then, she just, it's the equivalent of when you send your crush like a paragraph and they send you a K response. It's like, wow, you're not even going to like comment on what I said. So from there, he calls her out and she's like, oh, so I'm a whore now. I'm a whore. It's like, no, it's not. So you say you love me in one breath and then I'm a whore in another. Somebody said he didn't say whore. I could have sworn he did. Maybe I misremembered. Like I said, when I do a video about this scene, I'll clear up my memory. So he walks out. Best scene of the episode. Go Preston, because he said everything I thought. Later on, Sabrina comes over. Danny's crying and I'm like, she's going to tell the story the way she wants to. He's mad. He left. He said I was a whore. That ain't what happened. But then Sabrina instantly said, well, you're not a whore. Why would Preston say that? And I'm like, okay, first of all, Sabrina, you came over and you saw that she slept with Q. You held a sister vention because of her hot girl summering. Because she a hoe. And based off what you know about Preston, doesn't it seem out of character for him to call Danny out of her name without a valid reason? Look, you know what? You can do better than Preston. Forget him. You know what? Remember that dude, Tony? He's good looking. He's into you. You deserve to have fun. And what about you and Rich? Yeah, he texted me. We're going to have lunch today. Yeah, you need to do you. And then in the scene where they're about to leave the apartment to go to work, Danny just stands there frozen because it's funny because she's like, oh, what, you're back now because you forgot something? Because she thought it was Preston at the door, but it was Sabrina. But I thought, well, I know Preston isn't at the door when she froze. No, she literally couldn't move. And I thought that was an interesting character moment because it's like, okay, why is it when Preston leaves that you are sad and remorseful? Because that's one of the running themes of Danny. Whenever Preston leaves or she's on a date with another woman, she instantly decides to hook up with another dude. It's like she would rather just let some random Joe Smo run through her as opposed to having a mature conversation with Preston. If she was honest with him, things may have worked out differently, but I don't feel bad for her. And airheaded Sabrina is doing what she did last week, trying to make Danny feel like she has no reason to feel bad or take any accountability for her actions and how these actions played out. Okay, we're wrapping up the episode here. So Danny gets to work, Tony shows up, and we learn a few things about him. So basically, they kind of joke about what happened before. It's like, oh yeah, we're pretty dangerous together. It's like the people we can, threaten to beat up, usually they deserve it. So, oh yeah, also he mentioned, so how things go with Preston. I don't want to talk about that. So there's nothing to talk about here. So basically, we learned that both of them are only, an only child. Didn't Tony say technically he's not an only child, but, well, he's the only child his mom had. So it's possible he has some half siblings or something. For the most part, he's an only child, just like Danny. And he mentions how he's like VP of the airline, but notice how he's a bit hesitant to like reveal his position. Maybe because he feels like if Danny knew like he was VP and whatnot, that would make her look at him differently. But in any case, it's kind of interesting because it reminds me of Robin and the fact that he lied to Andy about his position. Like, oh, I actually work at the overseas division of this law firm. And now I just got hired as liaison. Oh, actually, I'm the owner of the law firm. What? So maybe something like that's going on here. But essentially, instead of just being like a desk jockey as VP, he works the front lines. And that's why Danny's like, wait, I thought you just worked at one of the counters. Well, actually, I do, but only to kind of gauge the customers to see what, they like, what they dislike. Basically, to be in the trenches with the other employees to get a feel for, what it's like working, in the airport. What the customer satisfaction is, like what are they dissatisfied with, what's working, what's not. Then I can go to the executives, bring it up to their attention, and then they can fix whatever needs to be fixed. So that's pretty cool. So she's like, yeah, so you got money? I do all right. But the reason she asked that, it isn't to be nosy about how, pocket watching him, but just to ask, so if you're VP and you're making good money, why are you driving that sketchy van? But then he brings up, actually, it was my dad's van and, he died and left it to me. And it's one of the few things he left. So it's anytime I drive it, I feel close to him. But don't worry, I have like 2 other vehicles. It's just like sometimes I drive the van because, well, it makes me feel close to my dad. So then they go into work. Last scene, Gary shows up. And I predicted it. Gary shows up at Hayden's just as Tamara's walking him outside. You have a great day at work, babe. I'll see you when you get off. But then Gary shows up and gives Tamara the cold shoulder and then shows some paperwork to Hayden revealing she's a plant and the Fatima's behind it. And that's the end of the episode. So, folks, that's the last laugh. Pretty solid episode. Hopefully the next 2 episodes close out the season with a bang. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.